Hi, I'm Bryan Hartson. Welcome to the evening edition of the Bryan Hartson Show. Now, you will notice tonight we don't have our banners up, we don't have our logos up, and we don't have a guest. Tonight, our guest was to be Lamont Elliott. And, well, yeah, he did not show up. Why? I wonder. Well, ladies and gentlemen, um, we don't have a guest, but we're still going to have a bit of a show tonight. Why? Because you took the time to watch the show. I took the time to prepare for the show. So, what was tonight's show about? Quite frankly, the show was about Lamont's feelings and his boisterous decisions to place it on Facebook. Well, before we get into that, here, let's go ahead and why don't we pull up our logo? There we go. There's our logo. Matter of fact, why don't we why don't we throw our breaking news live? There we go. Now I feel more at home. How about you? So tonight we were going to have a discussion with a gentleman who on Facebook decided to be very boisterous about his opinions on the country, where the country is going, and specific events. I happened across one of the Facebook postings, read his comment, and I had replied back. He did not like my reply back. He didn't argue with my reply back. He just replied back with some name calling, if you will. I offered him some time on the show tonight, and I had formally said, seems like you have some opinions you'd like to voice. How'd you like to voice them on the Bryan Hartson Show? I didn't hear back from him by text in Facebook, but what I did do was I got a call on Facebook. I just decided to go ahead and answer that call. Lo and behold, on the other end was Lamont Elliott. It was a little hot when we first started talking. He gave me some of his opinions, wondered what my opinions were. I gave him my opinions. And he said, wow, you actually seem level-headed. And I said, well, thank you. So do you. I'd like to have my show, the Bryan Hartson Show. And he asked, well, what for? And I said, you have some opinions. I may not agree with your opinions, but you do have your opinions. And your opinion counts. I've always said that through all of my business dealings, dating back about 35 years, maybe even 40 years. I have always told my staff, your opinion counts. It doesn't mean I'm going to use it, but it counts. And your opinion does count. And Lamont's opinion counts as well. Don't you agree? Now, if you have an opinion and you have the facts to back up your opinion, so be it. Our listeners will be able to choose whether they believe that opinion or they don't. I have my facts. I did my homework. Of course, I've done my homework for quite a while now, for the past 5 years, and even more so over the past year, and even more so over the past quarter. So it was no surprise for me to see outlay of frustration from somebody that does not agree with my opinions. So, Lamont, Here is your stage. I don't see Lamont. I was going to happily promote a movie that he has on his Facebook page that he's pretty excited about, called Guns and Grams. You be the judge of what that movie is. But I was unbiasedly going to allow some time for a plug for his show, for his movie. Well, Lamont, I still gave you the plug. Don't really know what it's about, but I got a pretty good idea, and I think you do too. Here's the thing about people that don't agree with you. When they don't agree with you and they have opinions that don't agree with you, they will throw out their rhetoric. They will throw out their claims. They will throw out their prejudice, their unjustness, and their wokeness. Problem with that is when you have somebody that will not tolerate lies, will not tolerate fabrications, and will not tolerate having their fellow Americans taken advantage of. Ladies and gentlemen, bring me your facts. We'll compare them against my facts. I'll give you time to prepare, as I did Lamont. Now, we have unemployment that is not pretty. We have a president that is willing to continue to fund unemployment. We have a president that is wanting to continue with stimulus packages. Sounds really good, doesn't it? Lamont, what do you think? Oh, wait, you're not here. Here's what I think. I think that we are placing ourselves in a situation where the Americans are going to be forced to rely on the government even more so than they are now. So consider this. Out of the trillions of dollars that have gone out for Americans, how much have the Americans actually received? One of my previous shows, I did the research on it and found out it's not pretty because it's not much. Not even $1 trillion. Believe that. Interesting. Well, it's not a surprise, and it shouldn't be a surprise to you, because we are funding things that our paychecks cannot pay. Well, thought it might be over. Thought we might be getting back to normal and back to reality. But in fact, that's not happening. As a matter of fact, there is word out that Biden now wants to continue funding the American people with stimulus checks for at least the next 3 years, which means forever. Interesting. Who's going to pay for that? For children, there's quite a bit of money going for child care. Not child care, but stimulus for child care. That's just the children. Spread out over several years. Again, it will, I promise you, be tied into a stimulus that is going to pay for other things to other countries, for things that you and I don't need, we don't use. Quite frankly, we should be pissed about. Who's going to pay it back? Common economics tells you that it's not going to be a free ride. I'm going to talk more about this and a free ride on the other side of the break here. Hi, I'm Bryan Hartson, and welcome back to the Bryan Hartson Show. And again, we have our special guest, Lamont Elliott, today. Lamont, come on down. Have a seat. Got a seat for you. Got a seat for you right here. You have a seat right here. Oh, wait. Can't do that. Lamont's not here. Again, Lamont wanted to have a conversation and wanted to have his opinions counted. And I fully support every American having his or her opinion counted. As I said on the other side of the break, your opinion counts. It doesn't mean I'm going to use it. And just because somebody has an opinion on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever, doesn't mean that you should use it or that you should buy into it, for that matter. In fact, you should question things that don't make sense. A minute ago, we were talking about Joe Biden and his stimulus package. What did you see out of the stimulus package? I don't think I saw very much out of the stimulus package. Saw a bit. More I saw going to other countries, other funds, other things, ideas. Probably going to paint letters on a major street somewhere. I'm out in the beautiful state of California. We probably could have Somebody Lives Matters painted on the streets, don't you think? Maybe the money could go towards that, but it won't. Instead, it's going to go to China. It's going to go to other countries. We are going to become dependent on these other countries once again. We're not making friends with Russia, ladies and gentlemen. We are not making friends with anyone, except for the Chinese. Maybe you could ask Joe why we are such good friends with China. Or Hunter could ask him. Just saying. But that would mean that Joe would have to get out of his basement more than once a week. And he'd have to have a conversation without a teleprompter, much like I'm doing. Today, I don't have a teleprompter in front of me. Today, old school, ladies and gentlemen, I have got old school. Why do I have old school? Because I wanted to have a candid conversation about an opposition to an opinion that I have. But we can't do that. Again, my research time is wasted, and, well, my broadcast time isn't wasted because I'm here with you. We were talking about the stimulus package, and the stimulus package is yet to come. Let's just make an assumption. Let's make an assumption that perhaps, and I'm making this up, but perhaps each and every adult will receive $1,000. Each child receives $500. Not so bad. Each child receives $500. Each adult receives $1,000. Let us not forget that that $1,000 will be going to maybe you and me, but it's also likely going to be going to people that have committed felonies, crimes, murders in jail. It'll also be going to people that are here perhaps not legally. I said it. We have a problem. And ladies and gentlemen, if you receive $1,000 per person every month, that's $12,000 a year, $24,000 for a married couple, $48,000 for a family of four, perhaps, somewhere in that neighborhood, a year. Who's paying for it? This goes on for 4 years. That's 48,000 times 4. Do the math. That's roughly $200,000 per family. Who's paying for it? I keep going back to the question of who's paying for it because that's a question that must be answered, that has to be answered. Joe's promised that he's not going to raise taxes. Joe, how are you going to pay for it? I'm sure he has a good answer to that because, after all, he, the government, speaks for the people. Isn't that what he said at his way late State of the Union address just a couple of days ago? As Joe said, we have to build back better. Wait, he messed up. He meant build back. Must do better than build back. We have to build back better. Building back better, Joe, would mean that the American people become first once again. That the American people are thought of now, not bailing out special little interest groups, not bailing out schools 3 years down the road. Lamont, do you have anything to say about that? Guess not. I must be right. My question to you is, when is enough enough? When is enough for you? And when is enough for your fellow Americans? You know, the ones that believe in the Constitution, the ones that believe that we should not be packing the courts, the ones that believe that we should focus on getting our economy back on track, should focus on getting our schools back in class. Recently, the Democrats' president, Joe Biden, said that the schools are back in school. Over 50% are back in school. My friends, I have a 13-year-old son, and I know what back to school means. I know this because I drive him to school, and I pick him up from school. Now, when the schools were back in session, and Joe said schools are back in session, over 50% of them are back in class. He was right. My son was back in school. He went to school on Mondays and Tuesdays. He went in at 7:35, and he was out at 10:02, maybe 10:04, can't remember, right about there. 7:30 to 10. 2.5 hours. Twice a week, Monday and Tuesday, that is 5 hours. Joe, our kids are not back in school. That's not being back in school. That's not getting an education. Now, schools have opened up out here in California more. The schools are open more frequently. They're open Monday through Friday. And my son goes to school from 7:35 in the morning until 10:02 or 10:04. In order for our son to get a good amount of exercise, well, he meets me halfway and walks from school to the local park where I pick him up. Gets him out of the house. If you have children, you know what I'm talking about. Children today, over the last year, have gotten accustomed to not going to school, not being held accountable for their own work, not going out and exercising, not eating right, not leaving their room and playing games. That's not what I want for my child. And so we make adjustments. The best I can, we may go fishing. The best I can, he may record with me. Best I can, we may sit outside and watch an evening fire. Best I can, we'll have conversations. I'm not perfect. I'm sure I can do a lot better, but I'm doing the best that I can. Do I want the kids to go to school so that they can be babysat? The answer is no. I'll take responsibility for my child. If my child's acting up in a classroom, I want to know about it. I'm sure you do too. If my child is causing a problem, I will take care of it. Why? Because he is my responsibility to take care of. He's not my responsibility to educate, although that's really not a bad idea, considering the fact that our public education is having some severe problems as well. Now, all these things I would love to chit chat with you about and have somebody that opposes on the other side to discuss. But unfortunately, my friend, Lamont, is not here. So, schools. I don't exactly know what's going on with the schools, and I'm not sure that anybody really does. What I do know is that our students should be learning about culture, all cultures. Our children should be learning about history, all history. Our students should learn the rights and the wrongs that we have done over time through history. We've done a lot of things that we could do better. Slavery bad? Yes. Masks good for a minute. I'm going to tell you, I was a big supporter of masks initially. Why? Because we didn't know what it was. We knew that it was a virus, and we knew it was killing people around the world. As time progressed, we got smarter, we got better. Vaccines have come out. I will be doing a show on vaccines in the near future and the effect that they have on Americans. It's not pretty, but you do have the choice to be vaccinated. As a matter of fact, Congress has had the choice to be vaccinated if they wanted to be vaccinated, and they've had it since mid-December. So tell me, why at the State of the Union did the Democrats' president, the Democrats' vice president, and the Democrats' Speaker of the House all wear masks? Why is it that everybody that was in the congressional area was wearing masks? Why is it that when Biden walked into the room, there was a big fuss to make sure that everybody did the bump on the elbow? If you've been vaccinated, surely more than 2 weeks ago, all should be perfect, correct? There's a reason they're wearing masks to scare you. If masks are so crucial that you have to wear them, even when you're not close to somebody, what then does give the Democrats president the right to take his mask off in order to speak? Does it change his distance from the people around him? Well, the clear answer is no. Does it change how loud he's going to talk? The answer is no. Does it change the dynamic of whether somebody can get COVID from somebody that's not wearing a mask versus somebody that's wearing a mask? If that answer is yes, how can you take your mask off to have a conversation? Think about it. Think about it. So, Joe, time for you to wake up. Time for you to come out of the basement. And it is time for you to understand that America is watching. Now, we know that we're having a very difficult time coming out with one sentence that is complete. Remember, Joe, you ran on this. Build back better. Build back. It's a thing, Joe. It's a we the people. It's the thing. You know what I'm talking about. Lamont, you know what I'm talking. Well, Lamont's not here. Lamont, I don't think Lamont knows what I'm talking about. And ladies and gentlemen, I've got to tell you that there is a lot that we can unpack that has to do with what's going on in this country. You have a different opinion. Come on. I will respect your opinion. I will not agree with your opinion, perhaps. I will respect it because your opinion does count. You're an American. Haha, see what I did there? You are an American, not the government. The government doesn't make the decisions, shouldn't make the decisions. The people should. So now I'm going to circle back here. Remember when I was talking about the stimulus packages that are possibly coming out, the $200,000-ish funds to Americans, to felons, to illegal Americans? That $200,000, who's going to pay for it? My friends, we are going to become more and more dependent on the government to make decisions for us. And it's going to be to the point where they're going to be taking a spoon and feeding us the ice cream because we really want ice cream, but we don't know how to lift our hands in order to eat the ice cream. And it really is that simple. Don't let the government feed you ice cream. Everybody likes ice cream, but you eat too much of it, you're gonna get sick. Everybody likes the stimulus check. But when you pay other countries and you pay other funds with the money that is supposed to be going to the American people, and then you continue to mask those funds by pretending to give more money to the American people so that they make more than they make in a year and become dependent on their regular income and the stimulus check. Ladies and gentlemen, this does not include money that's coming to people that are unemployed. And if you're unemployed, I respect that. I get that. I understand that. Here's some help. That's what unemployment is for. I get that. But all this extra money, we are coming out of COVID. We are, aren't we? But we're still wearing masks. We're still told to get the vaccination. We're still told to be scared. Don't go to the restaurants. Did anybody ever wonder why the restaurants were closed and the bars were closed at 7 o'clock at night? Think about it. Did the virus all of a sudden start up at 7 o'clock at night? What was different between 6:59 and 7 o'clock? The answer is nothing. How it was handled between 6:59 and how it was handled at 7 o'clock, a big difference. Think about it. Conditioning, ladies and gentlemen. How do you want to be conditioned? Do you want to be conditioned so that you don't think anymore? You know, I just read about an officer that was beaten just the other day, left for dead, was taken to the hospital, and was in a coma. Now, he was responding to an incident at a property. And the husband and the wife called 911 because they were getting broken into, and the police responded. Unfortunately, that policeman is dead. He died this week. Do you know what his name is? Question is, do you know the names of the people that have lost their lives protecting you and me? Our peace officers. The ones protecting the borders are Border Patrol. How many have died protecting you? But what do you hear on TV? The one. And no matter what it is, it's LeBron James syndrome. LeBron James should be stripped of everything that he has for inciting an attack on a police officer that was saving one of his own. Which, by the way, one of his own is one of my own, is one of your own. It's called human beings. It's called Americans. Think, ladies and gentlemen, it's your life. So tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 5:36, roughly about an hour and a half from now, I want to invite you to day number 100 with Kirk Cameron. Kirk Cameron is on a 100-day campfire revival. And we've been with him for most of that 100 days, and we might fluctuate a little bit, maybe a little earlier than 6 o'clock, maybe a little later than 6 o'clock Pacific time. We've had a great time watching him as he completes his movie, and his hair turns grayer and grayer. And so he's done with his movie. And I believe the name of the movie is Monument. So keep an eye out for that. We get the opportunity to sit in our house as a family by our own campfire and watch him talk about some really important things to the American people and the Constitution. And if you get a chance tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that'd be 9 p.m. Eastern Time, get there right on time, because he's quick, 20 minutes or less. And this is day number 100, the last day of the broadcast. He has some great special things that he plans to talk about what is next, and also bring us to a conclusion of 100 days. I have no idea what today has in store, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope that you will as well. Come on over to Kirk Cameron at his Facebook page, and you will want to go to the Kirk Cameron 100-day campfire revival. That is going to be the group or the page that you want to click on and cue it up onto your TV. We put it into our big screen in the outside. We have our little campfire that we've got going on, about propane, of course. It's 100 degrees out here right now, and I will sit there with my cup of tea. Oh, by the way, this is an official Bryan Hartson show mug, and you can pick yours up by going to the Bryan Hartson show. I did not run any tickers today, so I'm just going to spell it out for you. Bryan Hartson, name on the screen right here. Hartson's, Hart, Hartson, Heart. So Bryan Hartson, Hartson's Heart .wordpress.com. Scroll on down at the bottom, you're going to see a whole bunch of things. You can go to the Hartson collection and you can get the mug. We're selling those relatively inexpensive right now. We've got regular t-shirts of multiple different colors. I believe there's 10 different t-shirt colors. We have men's polo shirts and we have some women's polo shirts as well. Also, we do have the official Bryan Hartson hat. I don't know if you can see that. This is actually last year's edition, and we have a new Bryan Hartson show hat with our new logo, as you can see up in the corner, coming out. It is out, and I will be getting those to me shortly here, and we'll be having those on the show. So please pop on over, help support the Bryan Hartson show by supporting our merchandise, and get your Earl Grey tea. Although I do need to tell you, this is not Earl Grey tea today. This is actually Stater Brothers black tea, and it is good stuff. I'm telling you, really good stuff. So I do hope that you get the opportunity to tune in this evening to Kirk Cameron. I do hope that you get the opportunity to pop back in and watch the Bryan Hartson show. But right now, that's all the time we have for the evening edition of the Bryan Hartson show. I'd like to thank my guest. Oh, wait, we didn't have one. But, you know, we will never be the mainstream media, and we will be the source of news and information for you, the people. Join us for our next broadcast on the Hartson Media Network. And remember, right now is the beginning of your today and the making of your tomorrow. Make it a great day. Good evening.